Today on Chris Performance Repair, we have this Gen 5 GM vehicle here. It is a 6.2. This applies to the 5.3s. It's a GMC Yukon XL Denali package, so it's the fully loaded one. Kind of irrelevant to what we have. But we have an engine with a bit of a tick. We are not going to work on it on this video, but I am going to talk about a very important thing that can hopefully help a lot of people out and save them some money and some troubles. So this particular one had a softer tick. So it's a very metallic-y click. Actually, I might be able to kind of simulate it here. I can probably just tap it against here. So we'll just grab a push rod. Okay. We'll get the microphone close to you for you. You can kind of hear that kind of a metallic clicking sound. It was that kind of a sound, obviously more steady and more engine-like, but it's a very distinctive ticking sound, and it was fairly light. Nothing too dramatically loud, just there. I expected to find a damaged lifter roller combination where the lifter has a little bit of flat spot on the roller, because that's exactly what it sounded like to me, but it ended up being the other common problem that I see often, which is the bent push rods. I do have a solution for it, and we'll get into that. But you can see I'm clearly doing the full delete on this one as well. Though it technically didn't need it, I decided to make an executive decision to actually go through with it anyway, and I'm glad I did. So here are the parts that I have out thus far. Obviously, I don't have that head off, and the reason for that is the injectors are kind of stuck, and I'm soaking them in a little bit of PB Blaster because they're not coming out easy, and I'm hoping I can kill some time here doing a video. But we have the parts here, and you can see this push rod is actually from that side. I just don't have the lifters out yet. And then we have that. So we got two push rods sitting there, one push rod here, and then the rest of them are all right here. And the reason being is all three of these are bent. So we have three bent push rods, and that was enough to tell me I have to pull the heads, and that's why I pulled one of the heads. I want to check the lifters. I'm fearful that there's damage, and sure enough, there is a little bit of damage on the one that I took off so far. It's not catastrophic, but it would eventually lead to a problem. So if we look at these guys, this is happening on several of the lifters. You see that line in there? I don't know why, but that line is on multiple lifters. This one, it's a little bit further over. Let's see if it's on this one too. Yep, it's on that one. We have it on, this one's got a real small line, but every one of them just about has a little bit of a line in it. And that tells me it's going to chew up the cam eventually. It hasn't yet, at least not on this side. But the big reason we're here is because of these push rods. See how bent that guy is? And then we look at this one. This is the worst of the bunch. Just roll it here. See how bent that is? This thing did not have a misfire yet. And this one is the least bent one. And we're going to talk about every one a little bit and the importance here. So, now, every single one of these that's bent, this is cylinder 1, cylinder 7, cylinder 4. Intake, intake, intake. Every one is on the intake. I have no rhyme or reason to explain why the intake does it. Maybe the intake is the one that's shifted over slightly bigger or farther because it's got a bigger valve, and thus it's at a little more aggressive of an angle. I have not verified that yet. That's just a theory that I kind of have a feeling that's what it is. But it's always the intake valve. Also, when a lifter collapses, which I have a solution for with a funny enough hammer and a punch, basically. When a lifter collapses, it's always the intake lifter. Not sure why. These engines have several very, very, very common problems. One of which is collapsing a lifter, and it's technically not a lifter collapse because it's only the AFM portion of the lifter that is stuck, but this spring will be stuck in the downward position because the AFM portion of the lifter has gotten stuck. That happens on the Gen 5 stuff specifically because of a VLOM leak. I offer a VLOM plug that takes care of the VLOM leak, but you should take it off. I also offer a service kit to take care of the fuel injector seals and all that because you have to pull that off to take it off. And all that stuff, I'll link it in the description I'll link my website in the description. You can just kind of browse my products and look at that. But The push rods I also offer a solution to as well. So I have lots of solutions for these things. Just check out my website when you're ready. Whatever you want, buy it wherever you want if you can figure it out. But I do have it all on my website, including full delete kits, which I'm doing on this one. Now, that's out of the way. We have what's happening is this lifter. So the Gen 4s didn't have this issue, and the reason being is the Gen 4s, this is how the geometry was in the Gen 4. In the Gen 5, it sits at an angle like this, okay? So whenever your system is not active, you're in V8 mode, this push rod here is constantly really, really close, if not touching this top of the spring perch thing here on the AFM lifter. This will not happen ever on the non-AFM lifters, but if you have a DFM engine, it can happen on any of them because you don't have these. You only have these. So this issue happens because in a CAD program, when GM originally designed this engine, everything was clearanced and fine. It didn't alert that they had such close clearance over here. And then in the real world, when you go to build this engine, you put this casting that was cast in a sand cast or whatever they cast it in, right? It's kind of crude. It doesn't have any machining done to it. You take that casting, you mount it in a fixture, you start to machine it, and if it's mounted in that fixture ever so slightly differently than another one, they only allowed for like 4,000ths to 5,000ths clearance. 4,000, that's the thickness of a human hair. So if you're ever so slightly off, this thing will interfere with that, okay? It'll shift because of the position of the rocker arms will be shifted over more. It will cause a higher chance of interference. Now, when this first started to happen, when I noticed it, back when I first noticed it and was hearing people complain about it, was shortly after they left warranty, of course. Actually, I heard about it a little bit before warranty, but I didn't know much at the time. And shortly after warranty, when it hit the aftermarket, it became such a common problem that I said, I got to figure out a solution for this. This is ridiculous. I found out that you can actually run a performance push rod, which is a 5/16 push rod, and this is a 11/32 push rod, slightly bigger. It's 17 thousandths bigger than the ones that I sell. The 5/16 push rod, when you go to a performance one, yeah, the tube is smaller, so it's got less strength because of overall diameter, but they give it a heavier wall, which counters the less strength and overcomes the weaker 11/32 push rod. Now, these 11/32 push rod also have a seam. They're seam welded, and these little balls that are in here, the little ball on the end here, is friction welded to this tube. The aftermarket performance stuff is just one solid tube that does not have the seam weld. It's one formed tube with a crimped end ball. So the ball is even heavier duty, and then of course it's heat treated for the whole thing. Whereas this thing's just, I mean, it's friction welded on there to the point where you can tell it was hot. You can even see the discoloration from the, look at that, it was hitting the rocker on this one. But you see the discoloration from the friction welding, right? So these are a real cheap, chintzy push rod that do the job for GM, theoretically, though these things were failing right off the lot. I heard about that and I go, what's going on here? So I started looking into the CAD program, or the engineering behind it and how all the angles line up. And when I first saw the geometry of it with the block and the cylinder heads looking transparent where the lifters are, where the push rod is, where the rocker is, things like that, I thought, that push rod's coming awfully close to that spring base. I wonder if that's not the problem. I started getting a hold of pictures of these push rods and where they failed, and you could clearly see evidence on every single one of them, except for this one was just replaced, and it's already bent. There it is, where they have a wear indication. Now, this one, the guy didn't even know was a problem. And look at that. Nasty, right? And then we go to the least bent one, and this one is just starting to hit. Now, you'll notice there's two marks on that, and if I put this guy in here, and I go all the way to the bottom, that second mark is covered. What's that second mark from? That second mark is actually, if you look in there, you can see there's a step down on that tube inside that spring. It's that step down where that shelf is. That's where it's hitting. That's how close of a tolerance these things have. It's absolutely asinine that they designed them that way. So just a little PSA for everybody, and explanation as to why it's doing that. Now, if you have a bent push rod, do not forget, this is critical, do not forget to look down that push rod tube, whatever means you have to look down that push rod tube. You want to look at this view of the lifter, and you want to make sure that this spring base here is not knocked out of here or damaged or whatever, because you could imagine. Well, I'm interrupting. I wasn't planning on editing that video, but I removed the cylinder head. Remember, I didn't have that off before. And I mentioned something in this video that actually happened. I did not look down those cylinder heads like I had mentioned. You need to make sure you check, because I'm pulling the heads. Why would I? I should have, though, for the sake of the video. Or I should have pulled the head off first, because this one has it. This has the problem. I pulled the cylinder head off of here, and I noticed something sitting in the lifter tray, a little piece of metal, and I thought, uh-oh. I looked, and sure enough, right here, this guy was sitting over, like when I pulled the head up, it fell over into this other side here, and you can see that AFM lifter does not have this on it. There is this is the one, remember, this is the side that has a new push rod. So somebody put a push rod in here. That goes over there. Somebody put a push rod in here, and this thing actually broke. So here it is. You can see the busted off piece, and I'm sure what we'll find on the inside of this, I get the lighting right, get some focus. There we go. See if we can find, oh, there it is. That side it was rubbing on. Oh, and that side a little bit. It didn't wear that out too bad, actually. So it was rubbing on there, there's no question about it, but it pushed it over, broke the plastic, or the metal there. Sorry, my camera angle was terrible. I broke the metal there, and that spring popped out, and I don't see nothing catastrophic here, a little wear. But one thing I did notice when I pulled the plastic tray out of here, look at that. The tray's all beat up and damaged. This thing's been driving like that for a while. So, like I said, make sure you check it, because it will look rather funky. You can see it's crooked on the inside there. You had this piece off to the side. This thing was sitting funny. And if I take this, and I'm sure, oh, maybe not. I can't believe that's not falling out of there. How in the world? It's really wedged in there good. I expected that to fall out, but apparently it's stuck in there, so whatever. You get the point. So now we'll go back to our me explaining this, I guess, part of the video. If this is in here and your push rod is bent and it's prying real hard against the side of this little metal hat, this is just like a crimped spring-loaded thing at the base here that holds it in place. It can pop this off and blow your push rod apart, or blow your lifter apart. It'll blow it to little pieces. The pieces on the inside will be scattered about, and this thing will be laying off to the side. If that's a situation you have, you're screwed. It's time to pull the head. If you're pulling the head, well, maybe you need a full delete. And if you need a full delete, go to my website, I guess. I suppose I should probably note something about my website and my full delete. It's more expensive by a considerable amount than other places, but you get a lot more product. I include every little thing a person could think of, including even the oil filter. So something to consider if you do want to buy from me. I'm including an awful lot more parts than, say, Texas Speed or AMS Racing, or you name it. There's a lot of companies that do. Cam Motion, I think they have some. I don't know. There's a lot of companies that offer full deletes. They're going to be between $700 and $1,200 depending on what you need. Mine are between $1,200 and $1,700 because at the moment of this video, just because I have a lot more parts with it. Of course, parts prices will increase and so will the cost, but it is what it is. If you need a tune, lt1swap.com. All resources that I mentioned here can be found on my website. Again, link in description. And I think we're going to leave it right there. This video is just to talk about this pushrod scenario mostly. And I just have to spit out a couple little details too. With that, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.